To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems, a full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Welcome back to the VALORANT Challengers Last Chance Qualifier, where one of these two teams, Squirtle Squad and or Esports, are going to find themselves sitting comfy as part of the 12 teams working their way through the next few months in our circuit, fighting towards Ascension. We're one map in. I'm still Tanner Metro. I'm still joined by Keg. And that map, I don't think went the way that we were expecting. It was flawless for OR Esports going into today, and now they've got a big #1 in that L column.
Absolutely. We were kind of baited a little bit because OR, they had such a dominant beginning for Pearl, and then suddenly a light switch just went off. And Squirtle Squad were able to bring it back so effectively well, and we were starting to get to the point where there were odd plays coming out. It was close in terms of the scoreline, but when you have someone like Harmful Cypher opping past Astra's ultimate into just a double kill, I mean, what can we really expect from there? But I do have bad news, Tanner.
Yes.
For a lot of our fans that love OR, we were expecting to maybe see them kind of win out on their 10th time in a row for LCQ for Pearl. It didn't happen. So now we're not only going to a map that's been flawlessly dominant for Squirtle Squad, this up until that Pearl loss was the only map in LCQ, top 32, that OR has lost. So things are looking a little dire for the team.
Yeah, there's some rain clouds coming in. It's looking a little dark. It's looking a little grim. Let's go ahead and actually take a peek at how that first map, if you guys missed it, played out. We've got the stats for you guys to see. A 13-11, a comeback victory in Squirtle Squad fashion. 14 first kills, and it's surprising the way that the map started. Governor was getting a little silly wonky with it and dying a lot, but the rest of the team from that point on really started to come back and collect their thoughts, collect themselves. And it was what? It was a timeout early in the game that found us, I believe, 7-5 at the half. OR Esports, for a second, they find that thrifty after losing the pistol in the second half. And you think, okay, OR are finally reeling it back in. This is why the map is so good for them. But Squirtle Squad just continued to find ways to not necessarily exploit because they were playing defense, but they were just able to read this relatively one-dimensional attack coming from or Esports.
Yeah, I gotta say though, for the First Bloods, I'm really surprised Squirtle Squad have so many. A lot of the time, Squirtle Squad, they set themselves up to have weeded be that opening pick factor, but from what I could tell, very rarely was he actually involved in the opening fights. But that being said though, MVP of that match, absolutely in my mind goes to Harmful.
Yep.
That swing at the very end, he did a bunch of tiny little nuanced plays too. We highlighted when he was on the attacking side, he went for the Cyber Cage on top of all the other line of sight denial utility and pressured out Nillies to fall. And when you remove a Sentinel in something like LCQ, where a lot of teams are really relying on that utility to reclaim that space or even just hold on to it, taking down the most pivotal factor of your defensive team really goes to show how Harmful is just a team player and really wants to ensure that he can set up the rest of his team for success in the post plan.
Yeah, and on the opposite side, Lear had a really strong start on defense. Was kind of the only player that was comfortable or was kind of assigned for Esports to play on the site and look to fight for that space and not give it up for free. And he was doing so incredibly successfully. But on the attacking side, again, things got a little weird, and just Lear couldn't find kind of their spot in this this machine. They couldn't find the cog that they were supposed to be in this machine. And although finishing here at the MVP for Esports, they fall just a bit short. But as we said, that's only map number 1. It was flawless for Esports going into it. Now they have a 1 in the L column, unfortunately. And we move forward towards another flawless map, but this one of Squirtle Squad. I just have to say, I'm sorry. I did not believe in the Sova on Pearl. I didn't believe in the Sova at all. That was in the back of my mind the entire time. I'm thinking, I don't know why they're trying to make this work. But hey, I'm a believer now. Okeanos, I'm a believer now. They don't get as weird on Fracture, fortunately. Things are going to be relatively default. But I've been made a believer from the Sova Pearl. I don't want to see it in my ranked games, though. Please.
No,
Please.
the problem is if you see Sova on Pearl in your ranked games, you can have a line of Larry everywhere. Because the big benefit, the big benefit of having Sova there, and we saw it a few times from Okeanos, was that the shock darts, you can remove a lot of the pre-placed utilities that oftentimes would be just completely uncontested. So bringing someone like Killjoy, having those alarm bots, it can be really good until you have a Sova on the enemy team. That's not so good.
Yeah, but I guess also it could be playing into that direct counter of you need an ultimate now to kill the Killjoy ultimate, the lockdown.
True.
And Sova does so easily. And if you're looking at, Sova or Brimstone and what you're going to play on Pearl, you're probably not going to play the Brimstone. So I guess the Sova ultimately does make sense when you're looking at that direct counter. And then obviously Okeanos made it look good. But we head out towards Fracture, where we will be seeing the Brimstone. I'm wondering what type of role swaps we're going to see. I think moving from Pearl into Fracture, and you mentioned it kind of coming into the day, this Squirtle Squad team, they are trying to be a bit more structured, where they're not necessarily having Harmful play the Jet on this map and the Cypher on the next one. I think they are going to give, Governor that duelist role, allow him to continue to play something that's going to get him on the site. Harmful still going to be playing that Cypher, allowed to play that lurky style. I've really been enjoying the Cypher on both Breeze nowadays and on Fracture. I'm sad that Breeze is going away. So it'll be interesting to see how Harmful kind of manages and pilots this map, as we've got our agent select ready for you guys to take a peek at who we will be seeing on this one. And again, this is the pick of Squirtle Squad, and they're just around the corner from closing us out 2-0 in qualifying for the Challenger circuit.
And look, if we were talking about Nilly and Harmful so much for the first map, we really need to look at Pure and We Did going into this one. Controller play on this map is everything. And We Did, the last few times we've seen them play on Fracture, there was a game where they got like a double ace. 2 back-to-back pretty much. They did phenomenal with it. And that was We Did on a Brimstone last time. Luckily, we get to see that return again, and it's a mirror mode composition. Nothing really too wild going on. If anything, the big takeaway for today, Tanner, I think, is that Governor's Neon's probably going to be the wildest thing we get to see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because Raze is an agent that you can bring into the Pearl as well. And I'm wondering, in way of comfortability, if Governor's comfortable on the Raze here on Fracture, why not play it, just to have consistency. Raze on Pearl, you're working on your blast packs, you're making it work. You do it again on Fracture, and it sounds like the game is ready, so we can jump on into it. Squirtle Squad 1 map ahead as they go into Fracture, where in January alone, this Squirtle Squad team is 9-0. And And we'll see if their O gets to go as they start on the attacking side. A good way to really keep that momentum from the previous map moving forward.
I see what you did there.
I don't know what I did there.
Not
So if you saw it, then I appreciate you, because I don't even know what I did there.
All good, all good. Now, I do have a secret to tell you, Tanner. This is my favorite map in the game to cast, and you're about to see why. Look at how many lanes there is to have opportunities for both attack and defense. A gigantic platoon outside of A leads to a fast execution, but the rest of OR, they have to clean up the mess. They have to rotate all the way around the entirety of the map, and they might be able to catch out Harmful. But Nilly, in spawn, there for information, but look at this. The amount of pressure outside of A main is going to be mounting soon.
Very quick here. Flashpoint. Gonna blind up the Boombot, and only the Boombot is Harmful. Plays around the cage, but the paint shells will secure the kill. Low HP on Okeanos, but he still finds his one before falling. Unfortunately, at this point, you cannot afford one-for-one trades, as Weeded collects another for himself. The last one standing is said Weeded, said controller that you mentioned at the start of it all. He's finding the heads, the frags behind it, but there's too many defenders to worry about. And Jonah 6, safe to defuse the pistol for Esports.
I cannot emphasize this enough. If Weeded is the last one alive against you, you do not want to take 1v1s against him. Look at this replay again if we get to it. Weeded, right there, 1v1, essentially, but then immediately the trade from Jonah's there. Really good to see, because a lot of the time, Weeded will take advantage of the fact that people will take that crunched up sight and try to pressure from multiple angles, and you can slice out your line of sight so well to make sure trading is not an option. That's what allows him to get those aces on this map specifically. But once again, Satellite's gonna be the way to go. Everyone except Harmful on this slow descent as Harmful tries to find a lurk. He sets up the spy cam right outside the door. 0 Point does detect his presence though, but nobody rotates and reacts off of it. OR still staying on B side, same execution yet again, but Nilly's a little bit more pressure towards the back of Black Box, maybe for the Sky Smokes to go down to find a little bit of an earlier kill, maybe.
Spike planted.
Yeah, I mean, from Pearl to Fracture, OR so comfortable and just looking to play this retake. Obviously, they should know, hearing some of those stingers, that it is a force buy coming through. Boombot for Boombot. It's pure VNS. Okay, gonna be backed away. Good aftershock to stall this push into main. Flash comes through, and unfortunately for OR Esports, this lesser buy is starting to do damage, but Governor, the only one who remains, as he plays inside A main. It's low HP on both. Spike not planted here for the Rays, and he has no utility to get Lear off, and Lear is just going to stick it to secure the round. And sure, Governor collects the frag, but the bag the way of OR.
What just happened? Lear... Jonah was just able to completely get that defuse for free. Governor was right there, and yet should have been able to hear the spike diffuse sound, so a little curious to see what the thought process was there, but really good round from OR, a great start for the defense yet again. But remember, they had a really good start for Pearl too, and it squandered away once Squirtle Squad started adapting around towards the end of the first half and well into the second. This time though, the adaptation comes from Squirtle Squad's side. Sky Smoke goes down, and they're giving complete respect to it. No one from the defense is pushing up though, yet everyone's still hiding away. No one's going to the underbelly either, but Pure's ready just in case, and there it is, the call's been made to go for the great escape. Harmful's already on the other side, making sure that's clear for the rest of the Squirtle Squad guild to get by. Jonah drops and makes a sound.
Does make a sound. As Jonah falls, good shot from Harmful. He's collected himself a rifle, and that camera spotted players coming from the top side of the map, so they know that this rotation should be coming through. The crunches here. The Bulldog takes a bite out of one, but only barks at the next. As Weeded survives with 2 HP, but he's healthy enough to get that orbital strike off and to try and buy some time for the team, as Eldris wants to push through Canteen. He stalled for now. Nilly gets the fall damage frag onto one, and Squirtle Squad have done it. They muster up a very minor buy after losing their force, and they find their first round.
And look at the force, that wasn't even full rifles that we expect to see. That was Stingers and Spectres, everything pretty much but that singular Vandal into the round. But now Vandals are starting to be acquired. There's still that Stinger from We Did and the Spectre from Okeano, sure, but what an important round to finally pressure B and see what it's like over there. And despite all that utility that had gone down, still was able to take the site relatively free. But into the next round, we do see a much more spread out OR. They're pressuring A yet again to see where the squad for the attackers could be, but this time they haven't made an appearance yet. They expect that Sky Smoke to go down right where Okeanos is, but there's no appearance this time. A lot more of that utility set up from Nilly, but he's over on A site, so if the 0 point goes down, those tripwires stay up. The orb has been picked up. It does make a sound. Everyone from Squirtle Squad, though, or at least half the squad, have gone underbelly to try to crunch the site. And that includes the spike carrier as well. That tripwire is going to give away the entire plot, though, if it gets destroyed. But luckily, though, there are blast packs that Governor could use. But he opts not to. He destroys it first, goes for the blast pass, and he does something unique entirely to Governor. He takes canteen control rather than site control.
But he takes a lot of damage doing it. Jonah. Oh, Jonah's got to be tricky. He does survive. Looks to escape. Ooh, good shots from Okeanos. Long-range battle onto Nilly, and the Spectre comes out on top. And 5 stand here for Squirtle Squad, and as you said, glasses in tow. And for Lear and Zeldris, not a whole lot you could hope for with a couple of classics. Paint shells available. Those going to be tossed on out. Not much to be found. And, well, Squirtle Squad has been the only team thus far that continues to find these sheets flawless, and they do so to tie us up at 2.
And I gotta say, again, Governor's entry on B is entirely unique into himself. No other raise that you will ever see in LCQ has been able to blast back directly into Canteen. Take Wardell, for instance. They would go into the back of Arcade, use the blast packs to go to top of tower. But for Squirtle Squad, there's never really that emphasis to take tower control on B, rather just go for the extremities, such as Canteen, such as where the spawn for the defenders are, and even the site proper, but not tower. Bit of an adjustment here. 0 point goes down, doesn't spot anybody Canteen. But Governor's not there either for the B main attack. The spike is there, but Governor isn't, so it's going to be a slower entry. Farming orb for We Did. Is he close to the orbital strike? He's over halfway there. Satellite, though, is a different story. Harmful Governor there, trying to find some space. They don't know about the 2 defenders in A lobby. That's going to be Jonah and Zeldris sitting there waiting, not knowing that they're about to be crunched. It's a fake Rolling Thunder as Governor makes his way on the A.
And the problem is, for Esports, they do this every time. They're so patient in their defense. They don't bite on anything, and they're able to punish this half-fledged attack onto this A site. Squirtle Squad not expecting the defense to be here. They use the ult on the opposite direction, and Zeldris has himself around. Welcome back to the server, buddy. That's exactly what Esports needed.
Oh, you can't do my boy Zeldris dirty like that. He has done really well so far, but that 4K was exceptional. Just hiding away, and look at the stakes at the minimap here going into the replay. Effectively speaking, Zeldris is crunched at every possible angle, but is able to divide out the enemy team. Again, taking what seems like those 1v1s and dismantling Squirtle Squad on a very aggressive entry. So what's the adjustment here for Squirtle Squad? We had seen a great B-side attack 2 rounds ago, and Governor's there this time to maybe lead the charge, but again, those tripwires go down. You have Harmful at the top of the map there with that spy cam. This is something we've been seeing for every attacking round for pretty much every team in LCQ. But Zeldris is there, a lone wolf on A lobby, waiting for anyone to push up past that smoke.
Zeldris has to get out of dodge. No way. The movement perfect from Zeldris. He's also going to toss the paint shells behind him to slow things down. Another Sky Smoke to make it a bit more difficult for Squirtle Squad to try and take the site, but they push right through it. And there's no defender to slow them down. Inside the Sky Smoke goes the fragment, but an orbital strike, the Rolling Thunder. Stunned up is nobody, and taken down is nobody until Zeldris and Lear have something to say about it. A few steps forward, they find themselves on the site, and 3 heads collected as Okeanos and Governor now trying to pick up the pieces. Spike in hand, 40 seconds to play with, and they'll look to get this one planted.
Spike
But a
planted.
2v4, it's a rough one. An Incendiary, a 0 point, information aplenty, and or Esports, they're going to make sure they can secure this round using everything in their arsenal to do so. Make sure that there's no post-plant utility, but Okeanos is doing Okie things, and he's got himself the eBay clutch.
A 3-3 scoreline now. And imagine a reality. Some sort of weird, far away, alternate reality there, where not only would the Rolling Thunder capture so many people that are attacking, right? From Lear, imagine then that Rolling Thunder pushed everybody on Squirtle Squad into the orbital strike from Pure. So Lear and Pure's ults working together could have caused so much damage, but it just came out a second too early. Squirtle Squad, though, are going to go for a timeout. They just won that round by the skin of their teeth, and it came so close. But it's not consistent yet. It's still back and forth for both teams, round after round. And unlike Pearl, where a lot of it was contingent on utility and getting that diffuse down for OR's defense, a lot of this round win condition is from just pure gunfights alone. And Squirtle Squad, more often than not, do have the advantage there. But OR, they have that ability, that uncanny ability too, for playing together so long, where they can play off of each other like almost no team we've seen in LCQ. So it's a matter of balancing those two together and see what positioning can be better for either one of these teams in the post-plan, Tanner. And, you know, 3-3, it's a very apt way to tell it's an even game.
Yeah, a very even game. Okeanos and Governor leading that scoreboard for Squirtle Squad. That timeout, sure, there's probably a lot of talk about as we go into round number 7, but that timeout screams Austin a timeout to me. It screams Okeanos just went absolutely huge, and in order to keep moving forward like that, maybe needs a second to just breathe after finding one of the most important clutches that they could have found this early in the game, especially because it resets that economy and it starts to get that momentum moving forward. We were 6 rounds into this one and unsure as to how that last round is about to play out, and we're expecting Squirtle Squad to really push ahead or pull ahead at some point, and Okeanos was the key tool in that last one to make sure that they can still do that and they don't give up their map pick. Still a lot of game left. As once more they play the underbelly, nice and slow. Is Squirtle Squad in this, and all eyes on Governor and Adder here as they're about to make some contact. Defenders just around the corner, and these are not the weapons you want to have to try and take these fights as they creep on closer. A sheriff shot, that goes wide. The Stinger gets absolutely nothing. Governor doesn't even need the showstopper here. He blast packs his way onto the site, and it's all theirs as Lear's the next to fall.
No, he's the last one alive. The only player on OR with a full rifle into this round. He's forced to go for a save. Everyone else on those small little lurks, they almost found so much impact, but it just wasn't enough. Governor got that beautiful double kill there. And Nilly's probably in the most safest spot you can humanly be on this map. And this Phantom, it needs to carry over into the next round. If Squirtle Squad go for the hunt and take down Nilly, yeah, everyone will be on a similar eco. But he was the only one to buy up here. And it looks like he may have been spotted. Good for one. And he's just running away. He's a man on a mission. He's on the run now. We'll catch you, Nilly! But they won't. It's another round win for Squirtle Squad. Breaking the tie, now taking the lead. Remember, this was a game where OR took the first 2 rounds in their favor. But again, once the rifles start going to the hands of Squirtle Squad, those adaptations at the same exact time, it's a very different story. And OR, they relied a lot on their defensive prowess for the first map, but right now, they're not as fortunate. They have to think of an adaptation soon. And that was after attack timeout 2 from Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, now the Ducks are in the pond. Okeanos 1 away from his ultimate, but just about 5. Available here for this team, Zeldris postured aggressively here in Dish. And this is not going to be a warm welcome. We'll see how much Zeldris can get away with. Good tag, good stun. Here comes the rocket. Spins around. We'll find the first. Drops onto 3 more. Unfortunately, it's 1 and done as Nilly can't sneak away. Adder makes quick work of the Cypher as the cage will stall for now, but the defense dwindled down to 3 with Okeanos and Weeded on the attacking side. it worse for wear. Creeping on up is harmful. He's to be met by Lear. Sky Smoke, how much does it mean? Lear sneaks away. Orbital Strike opens up the A site. Squirtle Squad should be allowed to plant and play the post.
Oh, but this post plant already down a body. They do bring it back to a 3v3 thanks to the hands of Jonah, but everyone's locked into sight from Squirtle Squad's side. There is one that was able to get away with Harmful on the doors. We did, though, need to be that distraction for Harmful to make sure he can be very effective here. So little HP left for those on the defense, but Pure and Jonah make sure for 2. Harmful's the last one alive in a 1v3.
We've seen this before. Unfortunately, it was Oki alive to win the 1v3. This time for Squirtle Squad, Harmful, not quite enough. So we're knotted up once more. This time at 4. Nor Esports continue to show us the strength of their post plant and the strength of their teamwork.
And you mentioned it yourself, that was a retake where OR only had 3 members alive. Yeah, Governor went down for Squirtle Squad in the beginning, but the coordination that we had seen here, the orbital strike to remove the position from Lear, Jonah there firing so much and finding impact through the cyber cages. And again, it came down to how well coordinated OR can be, and despite how many losses they had suffered before even the execute happened, they're not willing to give up just yet. And now it's back over to B site. Governor loves to play this aggressively, but so does Zeldris. Oh, he got shut down immediately.
Yeah, things you hate to see. Is Governor gonna try his hand with the showstopper? Harmful finds another, and I mean, sure, you're a Squirtle Squad fan, you're saying things are looking great. 2 kills right off the rip, we get the spike planted, but 1 stolen right back. And a 3vx situation, we've seen how strong OR can be in these. Pure VNS has that orbital strike available, and this retake is all it's possible.
Jonah has no idea about Adder's position.
Privy to it, very privy to it. The swing from heaven, Harmful falls. Adder forced out from the Aftershock, or the fragment, excuse me, Aftershock to try and delay on the plant. They also have the Rolling Thunder. It looks like Nilly gonna try and roll him down. Out goes the orbital strike. They're expecting somebody to be playing post-plant. There goes the Rolling Thunder. Fault line behind it. A flash to follow, and Okeanos is looking to do it again. No time on the clock. That spike should blow. Jonah awarded the kills, but they'll both die on the way out. And once more, an eBay clutch for Okeanos.
Through the skin of their teeth again, Tanner. They come so close every time, but OR just so a little too slow for them to fuse. But Squirtle Squad, there's no reason for them not to keep pressuring B. They're hydro-cannoning their way onto the site like it's nobody's business. And so far, we haven't really seen OR being able to effectively use that Cypher utility to stop the pushes from either A or B. OR's gonna go for a timeout here. One big adjustment that I'm expecting to see is maybe for Nilly to play his tripwires a little bit more outwards, to purposely catch out more members for Squirtle Squad in the beginning. For the most part, a lot of these defensive tripwires are set up for in case a player overextends for the attack, or directly on where they think the default plant could be. But those trips aren't really being detected consistently, and with the fact that Squirtle Squad, or really nobody here, is going for these consistent lurks either, there's no real reason for them not to be hit directly onto a site. So I'm curious after this timeout to see what the adjustments will be, but I'm mostly focusing on where Nilly's utility is going to be placed into this next round. And look, a lot of it has to do with the guesswork to see where Squirtle Squad wants to push next. But if they keep getting these consistent rounds on B, I'm really hoping OR picks up into that fact, but maybe not. Nilly has all those tripwires, yeah, outwardly more so, but that's on A site, and I'm not really expecting an A push here, Tanner.
Now, I will say, however, I think it's the best adaptation. This round, it's a stinker for OR Esports. It's not great, but
yeah.
I think the adaptation that needed to be made is they're so patient on rotating, and Squirtle Squad are just able to deathball, and 5 is stronger than 3, or 5 is stronger than 2, right? Because the rotations are coming so late from OR Esports, Squirtle Squad just plays strength in numbers, and they've been winning the rounds in doing so, in taking the site and then holding the site. So I would love to see, even in these buy rounds moving forward, put Nilly on an island. Let Nilly play far away, get some information, and because they've been deathballing, if Nilly gets that information, now let's play that rotate.
Oh, but opening strike comes down. Nilly, like you said, still on an island here. The first big adjustment we've seen from OR. But everybody else on OR, they're at so little weaponry, but they're trying to play in numbers. Up at the top of tower, Cyber Cage goes down. The Sky Smoke helps Harmful for the great escape. And here's where Nilly's utility comes and shines. He's hiding away, playing for information, but that tripwire again, that should give everything away. Flash goes down. They're not expecting one to be there. It does get destroyed, but Governor, it's stalling him for time, and they're expecting that push to come in.
Okay, Orbital Strike, it forces a few players forward. Nilly able to snag one with the classic, but I don't think we're expecting a whole lot more from the rest of this team, given what they bring into this. 2 sheriffs. Well, make it 1 sheriff. As another through the smoke. A near flawless round. Okeanos the only to fall, and Squirtle Squad happy to grow their lead by 2.
All right, and now let's see if Nilly puts that utility again on an island. And he's rotating over to B. I'm really liking this already, but let's see where those tripwires go down. That's one for arcade control. We haven't really seen Squirtle Squad go that far deep into the site. They mostly just take control of B site proper and Canteen, and really late into the rounds, if they have the ability to control it, they do go tower, but for a lot of the time, someone in the position such as Jonah, they're relatively safe for the majority of the round. It's more so that pressure in Arcane that they would have to worry about, and that's why Jonah's holding out for that position at the top of the sniper's tower, but nobody's there. Said Zeldris might be facing the entirety of Squirtle Squad.
Oh, things are about to get very weird as Adder collects 2 of his own dispatches of Pure and Zeldris. Governor also finding his way into the kill feed. Now Jonah 6 and Nilly on an island, and in a situation 2v4, you just gotta save.
Yeah.
Here.
With only 2 left alive, and already look at the credits. Both of them together at the 400. You got to keep those rifles. Because if you don't save this round, you're going to be pushed into a really bad habit of force buying, then thrifty, then force buying, then thrifty. And that's how you start losing those rounds. Luckily for them, though, they don't have to worry too much about that, considering it's round 11. But with only 1 round left, you don't want to end this on a save either. Right now, OR, they had a dominant defense for Pearl, but this time, not so much. And Squirtle Squad, they've guaranteed themselves yet another round, and at this point, OR, they have to do whatever they can to bring it to a 7-5 half. Whew. But I gotta say, the execute factors that we're seeing for Squirtle Squad have been consistent, but different almost every single round. You can never tell what's a strat and what's like a protocol because they go for the same big brain plays where they have, okay, let's push satellite. Okay, next round, let's go B main. Or let's crunch out A from 2 different angles. So there are set strats, but OR have been having a hard time reading it. The rotates, like you said, have been on the slower side, but they're playing patiently for those retakes. Fortunately, that strat doesn't work quite as well on Fracture, but prove us differently. Nilly's left on an island again, tripwires to help out the rest of OR. You're able to force by a little bit there for this final round. Bulldog in hand, farming orbs for Lear, leaves him with the Rolling Thunder. But immediately, fast entry on the A site's good when Nilly's hiding away, waiting for the rest of his team, but a Harpo on the anti-lurk. It's Jonah to find the trade instead at the cost of Pure.
Spike planted.
And this is a great read and response. Squirtle Squad, they know how many times has this happened where they try and fight back through A main, that being for Esports. Aftershock into the close corner. Jonah a little bit worse for wear. Paint shells come out, Rolling Thunder to fight for A main, and they blast back forward, but Zeldris gets sat down. Jonah fortunately able to battle back for 3 on the round. It was 70 HP. He wants some more as he tosses out the fragment. A few more angles to worry about here in the 2v2, but Okeanos just before the flash will find the frag. Weeded, the last one standing, and he does secure the round for Squirtle Squad. 8-4 at the half. And our Esports, they gotta show us something. This pistol is so important.
It really is. It's a series-defining pistol round that we're going to into the second half. And again, if OR can't convert this, it might be over. You're looking at a big economic game right now for OR. They have to be able to convert this out. But swapping sides, the defense for OR usually is really slow. We've been seeing that on a variety of maps they've been playing in LCQ. They tried to ramp up the speed after the attack timeout, but by then we had seen very aggressive lurks, such as, Harmful in that last round, seeing that the entirety of OR were rotating over from the flank, but it was read into too well. 4-8, Squirtle Squad now doubling the rounds of OR. We'll have to see an aggressive maneuver just as fast as what Governor was able to achieve with those blast packs. All the eyes right now should be on Zeldris for this opening play. Does have the spike in their possession. It's a risky maneuver. But luckily, though, Squirtle Squad, they don't have much of a presence on B. It's all on the outer edges. The Sky Smoke's blind just about everybody, but Weedid's there for the great anchor. Let's wait and see how this goes. A spike plant, a little unorthodox, right on green box. Doesn't get hit by the fall line, but everyone backs out immediately.
And I mean, this is a very safe plant, right? You can play from main to get this spike diffused, and you can also have that player play underneath. As Jonah finds a couple to the Sky Smokes, Adder and Weedy get a bit too aggressive. They walk right down the shots, and it's the meat grinder here in the pistol as Or will find themselves their first sheets flawless.
And you're right, it was such a safe play. Even the smokes going down on B main just assisted OR in that retake, or the post play, I'm sorry. Just making sure those Sky Smokes go down, you can just blindly fire through the entire funnel, because there's not really many other places you'll go besides the spike. So a really good start for OR there. Like we said, a desperately needed round. I'm curious to see what the adaptation for Squirtle Squad will be. They're opting to go for a full save here. They do buy full utility, minus Adder, but they're trying to save as much economy as they humanly can and go for what you've been able to dub here, Tanner, the Death Ball. And farming orbs.
The death ball works sometimes.
It does. We saw a lot of those death balls on Pearl, but that was a map where it wasn't really as effective. And a lot of the time was just that both teams on their defense trying to do it weren't really able to capitalize on what site the attackers were going for. But OR is doing something differently. This is something that Squirtle Squad did not do, and that was put a lot of pressure on Arcade in the early rounds. Tower could be a big point of contention here, and Okeanos is already ready with the strafe shots. But it's a 4-stack here. Even on Classics, this could still be lethal.
And those paint shells go just over the top. Governor a second too late on the timing from getting so much for the team. And Or moments away. Harmful with the Classic away from finding another Sheets flawless. And it's Zeldris to peak the lowest HP member. But there it is. It comes to fruition. 3 kills for the Rays. A showstopper online, but a Sheets flawless at the end of the day, and it brings us within 2.
Yeah, when I said it could be a lethal round, I was just testing you. Not really that lethal when you have Classics, but I mean, the positioning for Squirtle Squad looked really good. They were ready for the arcade push. They read into it. It's just with the weaponry difference, it's so hard to capitalize on that upwards elevation. But again, we talked about how the pistol round was really important. Let's flip it around. This is also an important rifle round for Squirtle Squad. If they can make this work, have the double contact on B, and preserve especially Adder's life here, they could stifle OR's push into B and maybe stop them from pushing it for the next few rounds. But there's no utility, no stopping power. It's a slow descent, though, into the underbelly. One cross, Adder has the read, and he's forced to back away.
Here comes that showstopper. Zeldris getting a little weird with it. He stumbles a little bit, trips on his shoelaces, and Governor's happy to collect 2 kills as they push through the Sky Smoke. Adder 2 of his own. And maybe we go flawless for flawless. Nope, Caster cursed in the moment as Nilly finds the first, and this bonus round looked just like a bonus round. 5 rifles too strong for OR Esports and Squirtle Squad to find a 9th.
And remember, that 9th round, Squirtle Squad is 4 rounds away from potentially taking this entire series and disrupting OR and all the prominence they've made. Again, the only last left unsigned team in LCQ having this big lead so far by a map in 3 rounds. If they can keep this momentum going, it's going to look so good for them. But again, it comes down to that. Good adjustment there for Nilly. For Harmful, hiding away those Cypher tripwires. Be really stealthy. But again, that requires a lot more prominence for OR to stay on site for the spike to go down. They love to play off site. 2 suppressed by the 0 point, and that's good. That means aiming can't push up. It buys more time for OR to sneakily hide onto the site, but first tripwire I've already seen. Cuts across entirely, makes blast packing very difficult. But you know what doesn't make difficult, Tanner? Arcade. There's no tripwires there. All there is a single Cypher cam to be the eyes for B-site. Spike's being handed back and forth like the hottest of all potatoes. But it's Leo to take that charge. Does have the fault line, not close to the Rolling Thunder, no one in tower. In fact, there's no pressure at all from Squirtle Squad on B. They have to make that slow rotate back over that patient one. But they're hit by the tripwire. Governor's able to make his way the blast pack over, but there will be another tripwire for him to bypass, and that will be heard.
Precision kill.
And Governor just sent on a solo mission. He says, hey guys, I can get over this, you can't. They're not going to expect this. And he capitalizes. We'll see if he backs away from this one. He's expecting a player on the close angle. The flick is there, and Pure unfortunately is not. 6 feet under goes the Brimstone. Smokes off the table, and a spike yet to be planted as a fragment. Into the safe corner. Looks to stall for now. Zeldris gets one back
Spike
in response,
down,
and Jonah also gonna try and help this Ore Esports squad claw their way back into this round. They need it, as it's their first rifle round, and if you blinked, you missed it. Weeded and Harmful come together to find a 10th.
And like these rounds look like they should be going in OR's favor, at least in the beginning. Nobody's on B site. Sentinel utility. Nilly, one of the best defensive anchors. I'm sorry, get my ciphers mixed up. Harmful, one of the best defensive anchors you could be looking for, right? And it, like, you know, that's the only opposition you have. Everybody else is off site. And so when you have these very slow rotates, OR, they should have the prime positioning for the retake to take everybody down. But when you blast back over those lurking tripwires, when you're able to take down some of your most important members of your team so early on by a flank, despite having great utility for both ciphers, it gets very difficult. And now that 3-round lead we were talking about is expanding further and further. OR, they're going for their timeout here, and this has to be a desperate change. They have not been able to find the answer yet for Squirtle Squad, who, thus far, I feel like their biggest strength have been winning out on these gunfights.
If something has to give here, Jonah and Zeldris trying to carry, Fireman's carry, maybe Fireman's drag.
Yeah.
This Ore Esports team across the finish line to try and get us out towards a map 3. The proactive defense of Squirtle Squad in that last round, I think, is what separates these two teams in their defensive styles. Where Ore Esports fought for the extremities early in the rounds and were met with contention and oftentimes lost it. It's very quiet in that previous round, round 16, and Squirtle Squad slowly start to take this space away and try and figure out where this hit is coming, and it worked so perfectly. We'll see if they can do it again. Out towards B main they go. A few players here turned around as Pure VNS, and I don't even know what he's looking at. The backstab is there. Okeanos picks up 2 of his own as well, and Nilly just left on an island. A 1v3, a Stinger, and a Dream. But surely this is an 11th for the Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, and talking about proactive defense, Adder 0 points, spotting on just about everybody. Harmful there, eating the eyes of Nilly, the mirror mode battle, and again, 11 rounds now. Just the slow collapse against the attackers. We even saw OR try to fake going for the rope, but only one member had it crossed, and everybody else was kind of left to be taken down. And you're completely right, Tanner. The proactive defense that we're seeing from Squirtle Squad has been that gleaming factor, crunching against the attackers that are meant to crunch the site themselves. Those gunfights, no matter what weapons we see, have been working out, but now what could very well be the final rifle round here. OR are playing a dangerous game. If they lose all their bodies this round and can't get or anything less than a flawless, they might be looking at a save for series point in this matchup.
One suppressed.
But right away, the 0 point only detects 1. Adder well on the case. Reverse 0 point doesn't actually spot him out either, but there's the proactivity yet again. Harmful trying to slice the pie and look for that opening shot.
Once more, if they fight for the extremities, they don't quite win the first duel. Blast pack comes through. Zeldris on the site. Inside tower goes 1. Zadder collects that refrag. Now wants to look for some more. Able to dismantle the Zeldris push. No command subsides. Fault line comes through. Stunned up is 1. Pure VNS still fighting forward. Okeanos fighting off of his utility. Beautiful flash from Adder. And like you said, the last rifle round quite possibly comes down to this from Jonah. 6, and he gets it done.
That's the round you need if you're OR. That is the clutch that brings everything back. And now the economy should be a lot better for the team. We'll have to wait after these replays, though. What a good way of deciding, just breaking apart the defense. We've talked about how gunfight heavy Squirtle Squad have been opting to play. And finally, though, Jonah emerging from the tower, a place that Squirtle Squad has often neglected to even look at, regardless of the side. Taking full advantage. And now we see rifles yet again. Nearly so close to that neural theft. Guardian in hand. Almost everybody on OR. If they can farm these orbs pretty well for their attack this round, they could be looking upwards to maybe 3 or 4 ultimates. But the same could be said for Squirtle Squad. A neural theft, orbital strike, and even the no command could shut everything down in an instant. But Nilly's on that lurk again. Keep in mind, only with a Guardian. Oftentimes, these satellite plays have been met with a lot of contention, a lot of gunfights. And Governor's no stranger to those. He's going to opt to push back into A site. The pressure, whether he realizes it or not, could be invisible towards A main. OR and company, though, taking the charge, checking every single corner. They understand the stakes now. They're down a map and potentially 2 rounds away from losing out. They're bundled up together. Not quite the death ball, but a minor crunch, and Governor's ready.
That he is on the angle. Boombot comes down and bounces away. Paint shells to force him back. All the util dealt with here in the orbital strike to force him away. With just shy of 40 seconds on the clock, we'll see if the A site is still the final destination for this OR Esports squad as the paint shells force the team apart, but Lear pushes forward and finds the frags. Now the spike is down. As a showstopper goes into the spawn, Zeldris collects one with the ultimate. And Rolling Thunder was queued up moments ago, and with 20 HP, how much can you collect? A good backstab. We go Cypher for Cypher. The hat is off and the information. The players have been revealed. One flash to play with. Pure VNS able to answer back. Harmful trying to have himself around, but he leaves it all up to the very, very capable Adder. And it's Squirtle squad to do it again. They push us to map and series point.
Map and series point. All the ultimates at once to not only give that kind of warning for the orbital strike, like, hey, OR, don't go here. But they were like, no, I'm gonna go here regardless. And they got met with everything, the literal kitchen sink in their face. But now's the time to maybe turn the tide. A side's been a little wonky for both of these teams for the attack. B side's been looking a lot more appetizing. Orbital strike, the Rolling Thunder. OR could very well serve the same exact sandwich back over to Squirtle squad, but they have to do it right. And there's a big squad there looking for the gunfights. They're thirsty too for it.
Oh my goodness, okay, it's sticks and stones, but they've broken the bones of the defense, and Harmful's gonna try his hand at it. Sure, why not? You've got a couple of rounds to play with here. 3 players on the site, no util to work with, unfortunately. It's all across the map. And or you still have to be safe about this one. Your economy can't afford to start dropping like flies, and Harmful knows that. We'll go on the hunt here. This is not a very winnable round, but we've seen stranger things.
Oh, absolutely. Harmful, I think, though, playing it safe, opts to back off. Again, the buys this round haven't been as great, with no credits left. Squirtle Squad have to take what they can into the next round. And through all of that, we barely saw any of those ultimates we mentioned at the beginning of the round. That means OR, they can preserve that and use it for a much more desperate situation into the next. A great round for OR to keep this competitive, despite it being series point for Squirtle Squad's favor. OR are not ready to give up just yet. So what's going to happen to the next round? The buys looking not great for Zeldris N, but everybody else, it's opting to be a full save for Squirtle Squad. They're taking advantage of the fact that they have the 4-round lead. They can opt to buy and, not buy. Use a little bit of safety room in their favor. But it doesn't mean this is going to be an easy road ahead for either one of these teams. Tanner, there's still a big opportunity where OR could bring this to overtime.
Very, very possible. Brick by brick. One step at a time, and they've got some pretty good utensils in this round to help stack those bricks. And Squirtle Squad, anything but. You have to give respect to the possibilities in this round based on the economy. It's so poor, so something cheeky is happening, and we're looking at cheeky right now, right? Harmful with the shorty, Adder with the Bucky, Cage goes up, so does the Cypher, he bonks his head, but how much more can he find? Boombot not gonna find too much just yet, playing inside the cage. The shorty gets nothing. The Boombot instead will do the trick. And these ultimates might not even be needed, as Adder gonna hold position inside tower, and nobody's headed that way, unfortunately. This RoboCop won't find anybody detained. He's just hoping and praying. No, Zeldris getting a little aggressive. Leg shots will do it. The right click. Get some good damage on the Jonah, but not enough to win the round. A 9th for OR Esports. 3 rounds separate us from headed to overtime.
It was respectable. It was a good play, good clutch there with at least taking down Zeldris, but 9-12. It's getting closer and closer, possibly the match point, and the buys for Squirtle Squad still are not looking great. A Bulldog, Okeanos, what are they going to get? Probably they could full buy here. They have full utility, and they opt to go for the light shields. It's a game of preservation right now. The heavy shield's now acquired. But OR, they've been able to be a little bit more tricky with their opening plays here, but now on this potential crunch, they're covering all lanes with the closest thing can get to a default on Fracture. 0 Point does spot out Zeldris. He's forced to back off. Still, though, Pure hasn't been detected yet, and neither is anybody from Arcade except for the shoulder of Lear.
One of many ults used thus far, one of 3, I should say. No way. Zeldris immediately gets answered. 2 kills right back, though, and the information to follow is Nilly. Finds a trade onto Okeanos. Gonna keep the numbers in favor for Esports for now as Governor works his way on up. He's been tagged by the camera. And we'll need to back away from it. No, it was a neural theft that was revealing the position of the Rays. We did, meanwhile, working his way through Canteen. In this B site, it's triangulated from Arcade, from Main, and from Tower. Nor Esports holding this one down. Orbital strike available for the post plant, but surely it won't be needed. We did. Gonna have to show us some heroics. A kill and a death will find the orbital strike for the Brimstone of Squirtle Squad, but he's obviously shooting for the stars. We'll see if he can find himself landed on the moon. Unfortunately, he cannot. We did falls. Pure VNS comes out on top, and our Esports find their double digits.
Closer and closer, continuing the pressure B. It's been the weak spot right now for Squirtle Squad's defense. And we've seen just about every combination you could possibly expect. Utility, players, positioning, everything being brought out. And yet over and over again, OR have been able to find a way to make it work. And so we're going to see again a few more seconds until we get into the next round. A bit of a broken buy yet again from Squirtle Squad. Interesting little squad happening though on the top of Satellite. Looking to maybe find some impact at the beginning of this round. Nobody from the attack is going to be on the northern side of Fracture. They're all down below again, trying to avoid whatever outwards utility comes out here. But no 0 points this time. And a lot of that might have to do with that Adder's been playing 0 Point early on outside of A. And if he reveals himself outside of B, that might change the direction that OR want to push. They're hoping that maybe Adder could be that silent factor here. Flash goes down. Spike not even yet picked up, but Adder's been discovered. Fragment grenade instead. And the rotate's been called all the way back over to A. And look at this. Arvo's rotating. Oh, but now he's back. Everyone's rotating over at once. Squirtle Squad just need this final round to bring it back. 2 maps now. But they're failing to do so, and Zeldris has full control of the site.
Yeah, Showstopper that doesn't find much. 5 players coming from the spawn, though. It's never a great retake when you're all coming from the spawn. We did. It's an orbital strike of his own. Pure VNS also gonna be able to play that post plant with the orbital strike. Fragment goes down and splits up the team. These Stingers can't quite get the job done just yet, but the Bulldog does, however. In Squirtle Squad, a player ahead. And after a showstopper, excuse me, for Governor. The orbital strike comes through and Zeldris still undetected. The paint shells go out and some chip damage onto the Rays down to 29 HP. But he holds stalwart. He doesn't give up his position until he does. And Harmful gonna stick it, and Squirtle Squad have done it with sticks and stones. The yard sale buy they send OR Esports into the lower bracket, and they've qualified for the Challenger circuit.
Beautiful work from Squirtle Squad. The last unsigned team in LCQ. They've made it through. They have conquered, at least thus far, what we've been known as Tier 2 for years now for Valorant. And they have shown to be one of the best of the best. Now, of course, it's not the end of the road for them just yet. Like you said, they qualify. Still a long road ahead for the team, but I gotta say, they've looked sharp. Their retakes were good. And when it came down to that final adaptation, money didn't matter. They could do it with any weapons they could. The positioning, the teamwork, the friendship, and all it took was a little bit of time for them to finally take what it took to get OR taken down yet again.
Yeah, they send OR Esports blasting off again. Squirtle Squad do it, and I know that we're chatting inside the chat, talking about rebranding and what they might be, and now that they've qualified for this, the North American Challenger circuit, maybe they'll evolve themselves into the War Turtle Warriors. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, congrats to them. An incredible run. Obviously, I think Map 1, what we saw in Map 1, we got a taste of it against the Nation, where they come back, they send this team into the lower bracket, they win Breeze, and a lot of it was kind of on the shoulders of Adders, the Adder versus Tig show. Everybody was going crazy over this player, but when it came down to it today, You mentioned their heroics from Adder in previous days, and you can't do that all the time. So it was so nice to see the entirety of the squad really step up today. Even in defeat, when they're down at 7-2, I believe, at one point, or 6-2 at one point on Pearl, they take that timeout. And again, they're the vibe squad. They take that timeout. They're able to completely reset, and Pearl was a masterpiece. Their comeback started when Esports had 11, and they're able to win it out. Even here on Fracture, having 12, at the very least, Squirtle Squad, they've still secured themselves in overtime, so never really in a position to give up a map like what they did to Esports. And you couldn't be more excited for this squad as a whole. 5 strong players who are really coming back to form, right? In Weeded, in Governor, in Okeanos, who are finally starting to get their time to shine. And I'm so excited to see them in this upcoming circuit here in the months to come, as we have the stats for this last map. And I mean, again, everybody really doing their part. Adder with a couple of clutches. You got to give some love over to Jonah. Jonah tried their darndest to keep Or in it. Unfortunately, just was not enough. And as we take a peek at this one, 13-10 in this, 13-11 in the last. And the first blood still in favor of Squirtle Squad.
Yeah, I mean, Squirtle Squad, again, their gunfights really led them to victory. Not to say that everything else that they were able to achieve wasn't as important, but they were able to just be that fine-tuned package that we were expecting to see probably since the beginning of LCQ. But I gotta say, for today, OR and Squirtle Squad have been known in Open Quals and LCQ to have like those standout plays, those aces, those 4Ks. And while we saw some of that today, and we do have our MVPs, I wouldn't say there was one player on either team that really stuck out a lot. This was one of those rare occasions, I feel, in LCQ where both maps in a row were big team-wide efforts. Everyone was pulling up their weight, no one was slacking, everyone was playing the proper positions and working up the coordination that a team at this level of play, and for those that qualify, do need to be able to achieve. But I gotta say again, Tanner, this was a beautiful series to watch, and I'm super excited to see the future for Squirtle Squad.
I as well. Very excited to see what this team does. Like you said, this is just the beginning, right? It's one of those situations where this is where the work starts. You know, you get into the circuit and you don't just get to kind of sit back and relax like you're on the beaches of Breeze. This is really where that grind gets started, and I couldn't think of 5 players who deserve it more as our 11th team, 11 of 12. And for Esports, they get to try again tomorrow. And they're going to be playing against a Sonics team that is looking pretty scary. They're going to have to go into that one guns blazing. Sonics already having collected 6 heads in that lower bracket, and a 7th one could quite possibly be just around the corner. But with that, I believe we are going to have an interview set up for you guys here coming in shortly. We're going to be bringing on one of the players of Squirtle Squad to get their thoughts and to help us talk through that series. But before we do that, we got to get it all set up. So we're going to hop away for a short break, and we'll see you guys on the other side. And we're back after our 2-game series that sees Squirtle Squad qualifying as our 11th team for the Challengers circuit. And fortunately, before we look to close the show today, we've got a little treat. We're going to have ourselves an interview with the player from Squirtle Squad, and that player is none other than Okeanos to join us here on the desk. And again, who better than, there he is. He's tightening himself up. Okeanos, first and foremost, man, congratulations. For you, a young star in this Valorant scene. You've had your ups, you've had your downs, and now you finally hit this spot where you can say that you've made it and the work is getting started. What does this mean for you?
It truly means a lot for me, because I don't know, I cried after I won. Like, it's just a surreal feeling, to be honest. It really is. All week I've been saying one game at a time to the boys. You know, don't worry about losing out. We have the pieces to the puzzle. You know, one round at a time. Stupid stuff's gonna happen. You know, just stay composed. And we showed on Pearl, especially. We were down like, I don't know what the score was, but we were down a lot. But we stayed composed, played our game, and, you know, won out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a daunting thing, too, when you're going to your map bans, and it's like the first map that you have to go up against is a known, very well-known map for a team that's been flawless the entirety of the event so far. I mean, talk to us about the map bans. Like, how did that happen? Were you expecting, like, some sort of, like, anxiety going into what is otherwise a flawless map that could be used against you?
So we know their favorite map is Pearl. We took the gamble. We changed our comp. We used to run Jet instead of Neon, because the way they played, you know, they just love taking a main. One at a minute 05, they go back and reclear mid. Everyone's seen the VODs. They've been streamed before. They streamed 2 days ago. We took a huge gamble. We've had two scrims on that comp because I don't know, nobody's scrimming right now in Gangster, so it's tough. We took the gamble, and it just paid off. Fundamentally, I believe that we were just a better team.
Yeah, it really showed. I think we saw a lot of heart, even in your matchup the other day against the Nation, where you guys have that comeback victory on Breeze, just like we saw on Pearl today. And I kind of want to, since we have you, dive into, you know, you as a player more personally. For this team, you're playing things a little bit different, right? You're playing an initiator role. We typically know Okeanos as like a flashy jet, obviously the chamber before, the Rays. So what has that been like for you in transitioning into something that is a bit more supportive for this squad?
I've been busting my ass off watching VODs, mostly Saucy, EU, and the Crashies. I've been busting my ass off. I've been putting the time in. The playstyle is a lot different, but since Peter and Harmful are duelists, and since I've played duelists before, I know how to support them. I know what they want, so they don't have to ask for anything. You know what I mean? And so the first couple of weeks, it was shaky to learn the new role, but as time went on, I've become more comfortable and it's showing.
Very nice, very nice. But Oki, first of all, congratulations. But talk to us about the future for Squirtle Squad now that you qualify. What's going to happen? Are we looking at orgs? Are we looking for maybe sticking together as that core? Talk to us about the future.
We're definitely staying together, 100%. We're definitely staying together. Orgs right now, you know, maybe you guys can show interest. We've shown that, you know, we can play. We're here to play. And starting from, you know, we're gonna probably take a day off, and then once Monday starts, we're gonna hit the road running, prepare for Challengers.
Very nice, very nice. Now, between you and me, are there any orgs that you want to join?
Me, I haven't really thought about that yet, to be honest. I don't know who's joining, so, you know, send them all my way. I'll look through them.
We'll give him your number. Easy clap. But I mean, first of all, you know, again, congratulations, Oki. You've all played amazingly. You've defied all expectations. You've made it through, you know, tier 2. You're among the best of the best. But you also have a lot of fans out there. You have enemies, you have family, a lot of people that support you, and maybe not so much support you. What do you got to say to them?
Shout out everyone that believed in me. Shout out my family for putting me in this position. You know, I'm in college right now, but they're allowing me to ease my workload. I don't have to take too many classes. And shout out my girlfriend, Erica. She's been a really important factor in my life. You know, some games I'm not playing the best, but she's always reassuring me that that I still have it and everything like that. So thank you to everyone.
You've always had it.
Appreciate it.
Very nice. Okeanos, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you play more and more this year. You are an exceptional player. You've done amazing things already, and you're going to continue to rise above all others to do exceptional things in esports and Valorant as a whole. Thank you so much again. Oh, it's like a melancholy feeling, Tanner. You know, there's some... Yeah. We've been watching these players for such a long time, right? And we're not even done with LCQ yet, but we've been seeing these players grow and evolve. Yeah. Join different teams, join different duos, join different orgs even, and fight tooth and nail for years to this final moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, it keeps on going, but I can't wait to see what happens again tomorrow. But I do have a parting gift for you, Tanner.
Okay.
I mean, look. You know, I have plenty of gifts, don't you worry, but why the sheets not get your tailgate delivered? Stay in the moment for the big game, and we'll get the snacks to you with the sheets delivery. And with that being said, we still have one more series to cover for LCQ, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow to see how that goes, and we'll see you guys then.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems, a full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.